Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for a webinar, What Sets Dynamics 365 Business Central Apart from Other Mid-Market ERPs. My name is Katie, and I'll be the facilitator today. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question area in the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen, and we'll answer questions at the end. This session will be recorded and posted on our blog, as well as shared with you early next week. Now, I would like to introduce our presenter today, Darren Atkins, Encore Account Executive. Darren, I will pass it over to you.
Hi, and thank you, Katie. Good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. We're going to have an interesting conversation, topics that I talk with customers and prospects alike on a daily basis in our consultations about ERP software and what they might be looking for. So our agenda today, we're going to talk about the Microsoft ecosystem as it relates to its flagship mid-market product, which is Dynamics 365 Business Central. We're going to talk about how you can extend the general functionality of it in many different ways, the user experience aspects of Business Central, and the Microsoft Partner Network. And I'll try to go fast and leave a little bit of time for questions, or if you have questions as we proceed, just go ahead and type them in the chat. Katie will let me know, and we can go ahead and get those answered for you. All right. So the first topic we'd like to talk about is the Microsoft ecosystem. A little bit of a busy slide here, but the driving concept here is that you've got Microsoft Dynamics 365, which represents a whole family of products, which are listed in the around it, in that sort of circle around the center here. So you have a lot of different products in this family. We're going to focus on Business Central, but you've got other products like sales, marketing, customer service, field service, customer insights, project ops, etc., that are in and of themselves, while they're part of the Dynamics 365, they're separate products, but they're also all interconnected. Beneath this, you have the Power Platform, which includes Power BI and Power Apps are the most common. Power Automate, Power Pages, virtual agents. We'll get into some of that maybe later. And then the last layer beneath that, we have Teams, OneDrive, Word, Excel, Outlook, which represent Microsoft 365. You might add to that anything in that Office, which is SharePoint and all the other functionality in there. So the key with this is its interoperability, and we'll talk about that. But basically, if you hear this out in the marketplace when you're searching for software or whatever, you might hear someone say, we're more Microsoft than Microsoft. Not true. Nobody is more Microsoft than Microsoft. Microsoft has all these products and they build them to operate with each other, or you'll hear that term interoperability. I guess that's now a word here in technology, but these products will work very well. They'll live in the same tenant in the cloud, if you're familiar with that concept, which gives you things like the ability, so if I'm running some financials or doing something in my ERP system, I can export to Excel, or I can get emails and have them pop up my customer from Outlook. I can sign into, start my day and get single sign-on if I'm already in Outlook, and it'll automatically have me signed into Business Central. Administrators will be able to administer licenses from the same admin center. And then these products interconnect. So if you're making a Power BI visualization or report, you can pull from the different products and so on and so forth. Or if I need field service information to come into my financial software, the Dynamics 365 Business Central, to create invoices, I can get that information very easily without having to write or develop deep integrations or other sorts of import or exports. Well, those you can still do that, of course, but a lot of this is already built to function well together. So this can streamline your financials and inventory, improve your visibility with reporting and analytics, and so on. So Microsoft, you'll hear them say a lot, we're breaking down silos. Well, what does that mean? So you've got siloed information is a common problem where you've got this system over here tracking this data, you've got your accounting over here, you've got maybe your inventory over there, you've got your contacts and customer or CRM over here. Microsoft aims to bring those together seamlessly in a fashion that makes it useful and so that you don't get duplicated data that might conflict or might not make sense, or don't have one set of information over here that might be different from this set of information over here. You'll hear one source of the truth. But we're going to go into more of what sets Microsoft Dynamics 365 apart. So you have all these different ERP systems that maybe you're looking at in the market, and they all kind of sound the same. You're looking at general ERP software. When I use that term, I mean that, hey, and especially mid-market. So mid-market, we're talking about maybe your company is 5 million to 500 million or a billion in revenue. General ERP software does 80% of what any business needs. Don't be fooled if somebody says, oh, well, we do everything, or we don't need add-ons that extend the functionality. No, there's no ERP that does it all. There's always going to be things that they're not specialists in, like taxes and payroll and maybe credit card process, various other areas. There's always, or you have very specific business processes that, or industry specific process that only your industry or only your specific business does or needs. So there's always going to be that little 20% gap. But how do you define what makes these different? So with Dynamics 365, I point out the one difference is that you're in that Microsoft ecosystem. That's very differentiating because when you need to extend the functionality, all those products are already there and exist. So we always look to that. So in this way, the impact of that is it's going to be connecting your people, processes, and data with all these different solutions that are available. So you've got teams. Interoperability is great for the collaboration side, where you can share the data within teams and collaborate on it with others, which is very useful. Or as I mentioned before, all the Office or Microsoft 365 products. You also have the Power Platform and then the Power Platform, but these all work seamlessly together. Let's talk about the next little topic here within this framework. We can advance the slide to the next one if possible. So in the center here, you've got Dynamics 365 Business Central in this view. And now this is just highlighting all the different things it does do out of the box, where it's very robust. Microsoft is continuing to develop on this every year. As a matter of fact, so you're going to have connected in your ERP, you're going to have sales, finance, inventory, operations, supply chain, manufacturing, projects, etc. Now, what's interesting is this is a very scalable solution. It's also, in a sense, repeatable, that we can have successful implementations of this over and over. As a matter of fact, I'd like to cite a few statistics. This is one of the leading, not just Microsoft's flagship mid-market ERP, but worldwide it's in over 155 countries. Over 40,000 companies use it today, which is a huge use, which is also amazing. Microsoft, as you know, is a leading public company. They invest and have consistently, this isn't just like one time, but they consistently invest 13% of their revenues into R&D, back into R&D. They don't publish exactly what percent goes into Business Central, but to give you an idea, $29 billion yearly on average and that's one of the highest percent of R&D spends among technology companies. A few others, maybe like a Google or Meta, might do that, but um, it's very unprecedented for this class. And a lot of that is going into the software. So we're seeing large advances and leadership in the technology, and of Microsoft leading the way and expanding this. And we can go into a little bit more. Let's go on to the next topic. So I just talked about extending the functionality. So what does this mean? So you have the 80%, which we just covered, of what it does out of the box, which is any ERP. It's going to cover your general ledger, accounts payable, receivable, purchase orders, sales orders, banking, your financials, inventory, advanced inventory and warehouse, manufacturing. So, you know, again, comparing ERP systems, they're very mature. This is a mature market. ERP's been around 30 plus years. It's gotten very mature. So, any company or any product will perform any of these tasks relatively well, or they all have the functionality. Some do it better than others, or have more depth in certain areas or more specialization. But let's just take in general. So you have all that covered off, but now let's say I want to get into something more specific, or I want to connect it with an external application or something that is critical to my operations, or there's something I like. Well, you have Microsoft App Source as my first stop when I'm looking at a gap in that 20% that you need to fill. So in there, this thing is a marketplace, just like you would have your app store on on your phone if you want to download or buy a product. Some are free, some are free trial, some are you pay a premium subscription for. But this marketplace or app source in Microsoft is growing exponentially. Every time I look at it, the numbers are larger. Right now, it's up to just under 7,000 apps. They're adding hundreds monthly, but these apps can include connectors. They can include just extensions to the functionality, or connectors to products that extend the functionality, as opposed to something that's purpose built only to work with Business Central. But because the market recognizes the power and extent of Business Central, they're rapidly developing apps or connectors or integrations to their products. Maybe you need e-commerce. Well, that there's built-in Shopify integration just already built into the product, but maybe you want to connect to a different type of e-commerce. Well, there are different integrations for multi-channel connections into Amazon or Magento or whatever it is that you might need. Um, to get on that marketplace, you have to meet Microsoft's stringent certification process, which is very detailed and very lengthy for an ISV or independent software vendor to meet those criteria. One of those criteria is that, hey, if I download your app, it's got to self-install. It doesn't mean it's implemented and set up and configured, but it has to be able to install. Another thing is they have to keep in lockstep with Microsoft's release plan. So Microsoft releases Business Central in two waves. So it's continuously maintaining it monthly in the background and the cloud. You don't see it, but they maintain Azure, which is the cloud platform itself. They're maintaining the database, which is SQL, and they're maintaining the application, which is Business Central. Now, every 6 months, April and October is a major new release. So you'll have your Wave 1 2025, which is due here in a month from this recording, and then one in October. And there they'll make major releases with a lot heavier updates, new functionality, and so forth. Um, Another way to extend the function, so there's all these different apps out there you have availability in the marketplace to look at. Then you can quickly, with low code or no code, extend the functionality with Power Platform. That includes Power BI, which is a powerful presentation layer which can grab information from Business Central or other apps, other areas, and build your visualizations or reports. Or it can be embedded right within Business Central. Power Automate for workflows, same type of concept. If I have a workflow that jumps between apps or just within Business Central, if you can't use any one of the 40 workflows built in out of the box and you want to build your own, you can do that quickly here, low code, no code. Power Apps, hey, maybe there's an application I can't find in the marketplace or anywhere out there in the web. I can use low code, no code and build my own or have a partner build it. Virtual agents, that's kind of being replaced, and we'll talk about that, but those are your concept of having like chatbots or automated responses. Okay, let's go on to the next topic here. So Microsoft 365, and we kind of mentioned this already, but again, the interoperability with Microsoft 365 and Business Central is very strong. So you can easily import, export to and from Excel, which is a very common thing. It has an Outlook client, so you can, if you live in Outlook, for example, you can launch Business Central within Outlook, and it will recognize if a customer is trying to order 5 more items. It will recognize the customer. It will open up a panel. You don't have to jump back and jump into another program and log in. It'll open it up right there if you subject to your roles and permissions. You can see it seamlessly works with PowerPoint, Word. If you maybe wanted to put it, create your invoices in Word and add all your verbiage, as I mentioned, Teams collaboration, and so forth. All right, let's go on. If we want to, yeah, there we go. So another really, this is where I would say a large part of Microsoft's innovation goes. Everybody's talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and that's all well and good, and the world's your oyster. You can do anything, but that's kind of a little bit too broad because what is anything? So what Microsoft has done is they've baked these into the product to extend the functionality. They're the first to do this. Other ERPs are starting to get there and say me too, but Microsoft is really strong with this and with their AI, because they're a leader in this and a leader in security. They've locked it down so you're not training large language models or other things out on the web there. It's going to respect all your company rules and policies and protect your data. So your data is your data, and it's not going out into the world out there. We'll talk about Copilot and agents in a minute. So the way Microsoft has done that is they've created these copilots for their various products. You may have already heard about it. You have a free Copilot versions out there for your basic Microsoft Office and the web and all that stuff, but it also works within the Microsoft ecosystem here. Specifically in Business Central, they've baked it into several areas. So what Microsoft has done, instead of saying, hey, I can do anything I need to do anything, I've put it in the product and made tools already available, like Copilot that performs bank rec, or that might help you with inventory predict forecasting or predictions, etc. Now, what a Copilot does is these are like Copilots. Think of it sitting in your seat and helping you navigate or helping you perform tasks. So Copilot are tools that help automate and do your tasks. They greatly enhance search and all sorts of other capabilities. Agents, you're going to start hearing about AI agents a lot more if you haven't already, are autonomous tasks that you can set up so they're not assisting just a single individual. You can set up these tasks like, hey, maybe it can take an order or answer customer questions. This is where I said it might replace the virtual agents or chatbots. You can have these agents, they can be set up to perform any role, and then at the point where human decision is needed or view, then it can bring in or alert a live person who can then perform something. But you can have multiple agents running, whereas Copilot, you'll have one Copilot assists one person, whereas the agents, you can have as many agents running as you want. This is really, really powerful stuff. We're going to see and hear a lot more of that, but what, like I said, Microsoft is baking this functionality into usable pieces within the ERP that let you perform a lot more with a lot less, or without adding headcount or automating certain processes or helping you with these processes. Very powerful AI integration as well as, as another way of extending the functionality. Okay, let's go on. So that kind of covers off that topic on our agenda of the extensibility and interoperability. Let's talk a little bit about the user experience. So the cool thing is, again, nobody's more Microsoft than Microsoft. And with that, part of that, or even with the extensions, and they have to follow the Microsoft guidelines. So you're always going to have that familiar look and feel, the ribbons, the way, you know, cut and paste, all those little things that you might take for granted if you use Word and Excel and all those common Microsoft tools. Well, Business Central and other things are going to follow those guidelines. So what does that mean? Well, it's going to be easier for you to navigate around. It's going to shorten that learning curve. There's lots of online resources also for the users. So Microsoft Learn, and this ties in with Copilot. So in Copilot, when you're using that to advance your search, you can easily search or find things, and it will reference you into Microsoft documentation, Microsoft Learn, and you can watch videos or learn more. You could go out on YouTube. You can access additional learning with Dynamics communities, which is the large user group out there. So there are many ways um, that having the products be in the same family benefit you in terms of being able to quickly get up and running, learn something, get into it, and get on to what you need to do. All right, let's go on to the next topic here. So the other large thing is the Microsoft Partner Network. So Microsoft is a little different in terms of, so some software publishers just, they publish the software, they have to help you set it up, they have to support it. That can be very burdensome. It can be, you're very, very, very reliant on just that one setup and structure. What Microsoft has done is they said, hey, we're going to do what we do best, which is R&D, develop the software, we're going to support it, we're going to um, continue to innovate and make the software great and the best possible. But we have a partner network, thousands of partners across the world that will help educate you on it. Like what I do is consult with customers and help them buy the software, help them understand it, help them understand what parts of it they need. It's so robust, so you can see this ecosystem is gigantic. So how do you navigate that and find the right tool for the job? So what Microsoft has with these hundreds of partners, it means that, hey, and not all partners are the same. So you can find the partner that fits best for you. That's maybe regional, language, size, capabilities, so you might find a partner that's a really good fit for you. You might shop around, or maybe if you get with one partner and you decide they're not a fit, hey, you can go out and find another one that might be a better fit. So in this way, I think that the partner network is very strong. It really, in its way, it extends the capabilities. So you're not just relying on just what Microsoft has to offer, but now you've got these partners who have a lot more resources and capabilities at their fingertips to offer you. So that can really help the partners do everything from sales to implementation, training, support. That we can also do things like develop, and innovate or use these other Microsoft tools like Power Platform to create or do what you need to fit your business or extend the functionality of the core ERP. So again, when you're buying Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, you're not just getting an ERP, but you're getting the interoperability and the possibility to extend that functionality to everything else that you might need to make your business successful and grow. Okay, let's go on. Here we go. So we talked about what sets apart Business Central from the competition, and so Encore as a business is a really short um, segue here. What sets us apart is we are a partner in that partner network. We align with the Microsoft ecosystem. So we um, are focused 100% on the Microsoft technologies that we discussed here. So not all partners are equal. They can't all do Power Platform. They can't all do, let's say, let's say you need CRM or sales or marketing, some of these other applications, project operation, or you need to get into enterprise level material. They can't all do that. So what we do, so they only, usually a partner that might be smaller might only have one tool in their toolkit to offer you, whereas we have the whole breadth and knowledge of the Microsoft ecosystem to draw on. So we'll use the right tool for the job. That's very important, and very important to know that you have a partner who can think with that and say, oh, you know what, you might be better served if you do this or that, or recommend a best practice or the best in breed, in terms of an extension if you find things that you can't do out of the box, or be knowledgeable enough to say, hey, no, it does this right out of the box, and here's how we would do it. We've been around 35 plus years, over 800 clients, and we have a team of over 100, 120 business and technology professionals. So with that, let's go on to the next topic here. I'll leave a few minutes here, and then these are some of our awards and certs, and we're continuously cited on certain different things like the Bob Scott's Insights Top 100 VARs or value added resellers, Top 100 solution providers, Accounting Today's Top 100 VARs, and so forth. So I know that was a lot to absorb and take in, and I've been talking quite a bit, but I'd like to see, we've got a few minutes left. I'd like to see if anybody has any questions here.
Awesome. So thanks, Darren. If anyone does have any questions, please enter them into the question area in the control panel. We do have one that came in as you were talking about user experience. So
Mhm.
that is, how would you measure the impact of user experience when choosing an ERP solution?
Sure, that's a good question. And again, this falls into the sort of category of change management. So a big thing and a big concern is when you are implementing ERP, or you're embarking on a change. Usually most companies have something today, but you're still going, okay, here's change we're introducing. So that change is going to depend on, user adaptability, how comfortable they are with it. Are they embracing change or not, or do they need, some more ramp up? But again, having all these learning, um, like I mentioned, the look and feel and tools that you're already familiar with will help ease that change. Having all the tools and learn are available. Another thing we do when we implement is we train the users as well, and we record that training so you can refer to it. Or if you're changing users, as employees come and go or they need to refresh, they can refer to that. But or you can look up things with search or Copilot and so forth. And so you always have this at your fingertips, makes that user experience really, really wonderful compared to how things were in the past. So I'm not sure if that answers the question, but
Thank you. I don't see any others that have come through, and we are at time. So if anybody does have any questions, you can enter them into the question box and we'll get back to you later today. But I am going to add the link to our events page so you can register for some upcoming sessions, as well as look at some previous webinars. I'm also going to add the link where you can set your email preferences and opt into our emails so you can stay in the know about all upcoming events and see our latest blog articles. So both of those are in the chat there. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you, Darren, for sharing your information with us today.
thank you.
All right, thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.